And so I think it comes down to like what outweighs everything. So if you split time between Kang and Moran at third, right, and you bring in some other shortstop, what's the total wins you're going to create from the left side of that infield? So even if Kang is not a good shortstop, but the bat's there, and you have Moran at third, I think you could potentially get more wins. So, like, let's say you bring in someone like Iglesias, right? There's no bat, but the defense is good, right? He could be about a 2-win player. And then you have a split between Moran and Kang at third. Well, depending on the platoon and the plate appearances and such, I don't know. Like, are you getting 2 WAR and 2 WAR? So you're getting like 4 wins out of both of them?
Well, and here's, like, look, I look at it this way. Like, if Kang plays a full season and, you know, obviously, like you said, he's healthy. I mean, he's a potential 30 home run guy from the shortstop position.
Right.
And I mean, that, you know, that right now, besides Machado, like, there's nobody on the free agent market that presents that at all. Not even close. Now, I know Kang's a long way from that. You know, we don't know what really we're going to get from him. But I guess just the idea of just writing it off, to me, I think is a mistake. Like,
well, let's think of it this way. How you said about, you know, you don't know what you're going to get from Kang. So potentially, right? It's all potential. But potentially the Pirates go out and they get Iglesias. And what if they get Brian Dozier and they spend $10 million on that? Or what if they get Daniel Murphy, $10 million on that or such? Like, you don't know what they're going to bring, potentially, right? Like, you're getting Dozier at $10 million, which you think is a good price because you're betting on him improving, right? But you don't know. He could be a 200 hitter still that doesn't do much.
Right.
And that's costing you $10 million, where Jung Ho is going to cost you 3, potentially up to 5.5.
Yeah, and he's already here. Like, and that's
right.
What I mean. Like, at this point,
so I think you have a valid point.
And I just don't, like, to me, I mean, if it is the health thing, like, they just don't think physically he can play short. But that doesn't make any sense to me because, like, if you physically can't play short, like, how are you playing third base at an elite, like a pretty good level? You know what I mean? Like, I get that
I guess it depends on if he's still playing it at an elite level.
Well, right. But
I mean, it's still to be determined.
And it's like, yeah, I get that the range at third base isn't like it is at shortstop, but
no.
Still, like, you don't want somebody out there with, I mean, you don't want somebody like Moran who can't move, which we already do have out there. Or, you know, you don't want somebody out there with a bum knee or whatever that can't really move around at all. Like, you probably don't want him anywhere besides maybe first base. But so that's a little weird to me, like saying like, oh, he can definitely play third, but shortstop's out. Like, no way that's happening. Like, it's just it's unless, you know, it's weird to me because, like I said, anybody.
And again, the fact that he played it and his rehab.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it was like they were allowing it to. They were leaving the option out there, which is what I thought. Okay, there's an obvious need coming up at shortstop. If Newman ain't going to be the guy and Kramer ain't going to be the guy at shortstop now, then there's an obvious need. So you have Kang, he's coming back. I just don't. I think writing it off and saying there's no way he's going to do it, whatever, blah blah blah. It's just. I think it's a mistake, and I think that they're really missing an opportunity where, I mean, if Kang...
What was his fielding percentage? That's what I want to know. What was his fielding percentage at short?
His fielding percentage. I actually did look up some of the... I mean, really, in the whole... His major league time, which, I mean, comes down to basically 2 seasons, he only has played shortstop... He started 49 games, and he's appeared 60 games at shortstop. You know, he all in 2016 was all third base. And he played more third base the first season, 77 games compared to 60. But, I mean, his numbers weren't terrible. I think the defensive run saves were 0.
Yeah, he held it down. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if we're going to say he's elite level at third, but he definitely can play it.
Oh, you're talking about
so
at
what is he
third?
going to be at? Oh, well, no. What?
I thought you were talking about at short.
So both. Sorry. For his career at third, he's 2 defensive runs saved. Yeah. Shortstop, he's 0. But that's what I was getting at. So, like, with the injuries and such, like, we don't know if he's really like elite level at third. He can definitely play it before. And at shortstop, he could play. But, right, like, I guess that's what it comes down to. I don't know if it's truly health because why would you, like, if that was your big thing, why would you even put him at short for the rehab? So, they could potentially be missing out because you don't have to go get that shortstop, right? So, you have Moran at third. You have Kang at short. You have Eric Gonzalez that can play everywhere. Like, that gives you potential, like, another bench bat to go after. You know, like, really, you have more money to allocate elsewhere. What if you want to go out and get a big time second baseman now? You know, you have more money to do it because you don't have to invest some into a shortstop.
Right.
Because really it's like Kang and Moran are the same position. One's going to be on a bench at some point in time. So you have to go get another starter and some more bench.
That's what I mean.
You're on to something.
They both can't play at the same time. Like, they could do the platoon, but it's kind of if they're both hitting and both playing, it's kind of a waste to have one on the bench. And, like, it kills me. Like, you need a shortstop. There's not many out there. Like, you have a shortstop on the roster. You know what I mean? Like, and it's now maybe Kang.
And it's 1 year. It's cheap.
Yeah.
You're not looking at like, well, if he blows out his knee, I mean, we're done with him.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like you don't want to be like, oh, the hell with him. But it's true. It's a 1 year deal. So if he does get injured, it's not, I don't know. But then Gonzalez, I guess, plays there. But if there were some good, some other free agents out there that I think could hold it down. I mean, Iglesias, a nice glove, but what are you getting with the bat? But I just look at it. What if Kang comes back? What if he's tearing the cover off the ball like he was in his prime in 2016, and he's like a 25, 30 home run power guy, which is what we were thinking he was going into 2017 until all this stuff happened.
What if Moran and Kang both perform out their ass next year, and Kang forces their hand to play short?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean, to just write it off and say, oh, he's out, for shortstop. We're not doing it. So
I know.
Now, unless Kang could have went to the Pirates and said, I don't want to play shortstop. I don't know if it's the health. I don't know.
But he played it.
Well, maybe he did it in the off season. I have no idea. But like I said,
that's what I'm saying. He played on the rehab.
The health
if he did it in the off season,
the health thing doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So
it's a valid point, and the thing is, like, we're just talking and blowing hot air because it's not going to happen. But I think you could be right. I think you are, but in the same sense. So the counter that, what if Kang isn't Kang, and now you have a clear hole at shortstop. Moran's Moran, so Moran
is Moran.
Hungry like the wolf. So you have Moran out there, and you have Kang, and that left side looks awful. And now you got yourself in the real hole because you didn't go after a shortstop.
You probably.
You have that potential as well.
Then you slide Gonzalez in there, or you also have Newman.
Exactly. So now you have Gonzalez at shortstop and Moran at third.
Right, but you also have. I mean, Gonzalez is at least a good glove. So, anything he can add with the bat at that point would be a bonus. But you also have Newman. Now, Newman could still be an option. He'll be at AAA for the most likely to start the season. But he could always, that's what it was groomed for, basically, was for him.
Right.
So, you have options. It's not like you'd be picking somebody up from high A and, like, okay, you got to play shortstop. We don't have anybody. But, yeah, it wouldn't be ideal if Kang, shits the bed. But I just think going into spring training next year, at least in saying, like, oh, he's definitely not playing shortstop, is a little short-sighted. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, to sum it up, like we said, there's positives and negatives, but I think it comes down to the fact that they've already cut it off. If they could have at least said that they were open to it, right, then there's some possibilities. The fact that they just came down and said, like, we're not even considering it, leaves something to, be desired. Right. So I'm with you with that.
All right, so you could Fox.
I don't know why they would just cut it off, because
it just
like you said, in the rehab he played short. I don't know the real reasons why they're saying that he's not going to do it, but they are, and that's where we stand.
Well, it's almost like they brush it off, like, well, he got injured, he had that horrific injury, so he can't play there ever again. It's like, wait, what? Like, that could happen to anybody, So I don't know. I don't get it. And it's not like they have $100 million invested in him. Like, they'll never have $100 million invested in anybody. But
no, it's great. And that's like you're saying. Why not roll the dice? You don't have the investment in him. He's not long term, so get what you can out of him. And if it works best that he plays short, why not do it? Like, why close the door now? Why not just stay mum and keep it as a possibility and see what happens next year? But I don't know. That's where they're going. I don't hate it. In theory, I still think it's Moran's job now until Kang takes it over, and if he does, that's the best thing that can happen, because he's got the ceiling and Moran doesn't. But at least Moran has the floor, so if Kang's not there, we can still roll with him.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it would be good to see, or at least leave it open for a possibility. But Apparently, this is all hypothetical because it ain't gonna happen.
My grandfather watches the news.
Apparently.
And apparently, after the Powerball. Anyways, all right. Yeah, so enough Gung talk.
Yeah, I know. It's like we've talked about Gung so much, so it's like
we really
I really don't want to talk about him again.
This guy's played like 3 innings in the past 48 years. And
but it's like we have the shortstop. He's here. So anyway, all right. I guess the only other news, DiNardo. I mean, that wasn't news, but the only news of the week, really, for the Pirates, was they added basically we saw the trade last week where they Luplow and Moroff go to Cleveland. We get Gonzalez back, kind of clearing up the 40-man roster, clearing up some spaces. Well, the Pirates, before the Rule 5 draft, which is in Vegas, which we're not going to because DiNardo didn't want to go.
What?
He wouldn't take Wagner to Kutch. Do you believe this? Unbelievable. So, but anyway, with the Rule 5 draft coming up, they start protecting some people. So they added 4 guys to the 40-man roster. Nothing shocking here. Mitch Keller. They didn't want to lose him, I'm guessing. Unless they're trading for James Paxton and Edwin Diaz.
Well, that's not happening because Paxton's already traded. So
we could trade for the Yankees. Who knows?
We're gonna trade again.
We're gonna get Clint Frazier.
Well, it's gonna be like Andrew Heaney when he got traded to the Dodgers, and then 2 hours later got traded to the Angels.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
So, by the way, I think the Yankees got away late on that deal, but the Paxton deal.
I really do like it for both sides. Because, I mean, there is a lot of health risk with Paxton, too. I mean, I like Paxton. I like what he presents for the Yankees.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely a great get for them. But I don't know. Maybe I do like Sheffield. I do, and I think that's a good return for them.
Anyway.
What they're doing, yeah, continue.
Anyway, so Mitch Keller added to the 40-man roster.
It wasn't Colin Moran.
No. Right. Along with Cole Tucker, who, speaking of shortstops, there you go. There's another option, DiNardo, if things go bad with whoever. And then
2020 at least.
And then also Jason Martin and Ruga's boy, JT Brubaker.
That is Ruga's boy.
So they were added. I mean, nothing shocking here. I mean, all these guys pretty much are going to be in AAA next year. I would assume Tucker is. He played, I think, majority of the season, or definitely half of the season in the playoffs at Altoona. So it looks like these guys. And that's the other thing, DiNardo. Like, so if Newman doesn't make the team, whether we go and get another shortstop or Gonzalez plays it or whatever, is Tucker and Newman both in AAA? Like, how are they both getting shortstop?
But I think Newman goes at second and Tucker goes to short.
So Kramer makes the team then.
I mean,
because you can't have Kramer and Tucker and Newman all playing second and short.
I know. I know. Maybe he goes to third.
You're just moving people over. Keep moving. Get that dugout. Keep moving.
And then Hayes goes to first. I don't know. But here's the thing to that,
Pirates AAA
though.
team starts the new shifting trend. We shift them way off of third base in foul territory, and he stands in the dugout.
We don't even have positions anymore, right? Like, get rid of the starter, the reliever roles, right? They're just pitchers. That's how it's coming down. Like, there's not even actual infielders and outfielders. They just play somewhere.
This is a really stupid question.
I think this has more exactly goes to what we're talking about right now. The whole trade that just happened, with Luplow and Moroff. So, I mean, think about that. If they're still on the team, one of the 4 that you just mentioned doesn't have a spot in the 40-man. They could be picked up by another person, another team. And then, you're having even more of a crunch, So, if Luplow and Moroff are in AAA, and so is one of Newman and Kramer, and then so is Colt. Where are these guys playing? So that's why that trade last week made all kinds of sense. Yeah. Again, as I mentioned, I didn't care who they got in return. These are 2 fringy guys at best that don't really have a long-term plan with the Pirates, and we have those type of guys in our system right now already in AAA. That's why you need to trade them, because there's no room for the other guys that have higher ceilings. So, yeah, I mean, exactly. But it's a good thing to have, right? There's a lot of depth, and it's all at AAA right now too.
It is a good, right? It's a good thing to have.
It's not that we're looking at Cole.
They're close.
We need a shortstop, and Cole Tucker's still in A-ball
Right.
still, like he has been. Like he's almost here now.
And Keller's knocking on the door. He's right there.
Yep.
Jason Martin.
Triple A.
Jason Martin got, promoted